Now, the national chairman of the NPP, Mr. Freddie Blay, is accusing the opposition NDC of employing inferior communist tactics to undermine the EC's voter registration exercise. The NPP's chairman made the accusation during a news conference a while ago here in Accra.
Our brothers and sisters of the NDC are desperately trying to undermine the simple, civil, and peaceful exercise of voter registration into one of ethnocentrism through outright fabrications, needless exaggerations, and old-fashioned fear-mongering propaganda tactics, and if I will say with your permission, inferior communist tactics. It has not been very smooth, I must say. The Electoral Commission, EC, the arbiter with sole authority to determine elections, has had to prove its mettle over and over again these past few months.
Let's go on the phone lines and speak with our correspondent, Manuel Cranting, who's attending the program for more. Manuel, what explanation has Mr. Blay been offering for this accusation against the NDC?
He's exactly saying that the NDC, led by John Dramani Mahama, former president, have absolutely no message for Ghanaians. In fact, he lists a number of instances where he says that the NDC have lost all its options, in getting back into the race, properly speaking. He mentions the Supreme Court ruling, which he claims the NDC, through its General Secretary, Johnson Nsidin Ketia, attempted to steal a verdict. He says that after all of these things, the NDC is left with no other option than what he describes as, communist, inferior communist tactics. He says they are only trying to pitch Ghanaians against each other in what they describe as ethnocentric tendencies by the government.
Right, Manuel, we know that the NDC is addressing the media later today, but Mr. Blay seems to allege that the allegations that have been put out are not true. Is that what he's saying? Yes,
he's saying that because he's been making a number of points to defend that. First of all, he mentions, makes reference to the Banda incident, that he says that there was a regional security council meeting which brought both parties, both major parties, the NPP and the NDC, to sit and deliberate about how to carry out, including the NDC, the Electoral Commission, of course, to deliberate about how to carry out peacefully the voter registration exercise in that area. And both of them had signed an undertaking to ensure that the security would step in to ensure, that everybody was complying with the protocols therein. And so he's taken aback in his words that the NDC turned around to say that the presence of the security personnel in the area is essentially for the purpose of voter suppression. He goes ahead also to mention that in some particular areas in the voter region, specifically the Ketu South constituency, the data available from the Electoral Commission does not in any way support the claims of the NDC. He adds also that, in fact, the yet to be completed registration exercise by the Electoral Commission, that constituency has registered over 132,000 potential voters, like eligible voters, as against the total registration registrants in 2016 of 149,000. They are optimistic that by the end of the entire registration exercise, that particular constituency, would supersede the earlier number of 149,000.
Right.
And adds finally that the voter region is one of the regions that has actually exceeded the national average in terms of registrants. So the data available to them from the EC does not in any way support the claims of the NDC as regards voter suppression in the area.
Manuel Kranse, thank you so much for joining us with those details.